Yes.
Are we all settled?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the garden. Are you all Christians?
Yes.
Hey, that's good. My name is Paul. I come from England. I'm one of the volunteers that take people around this garden and talk about Jesus here. This garden was purchased by a group of Englishmen 120 years ago because they thought this rock face behind me was Golgotha, the place in the Bible where Jesus was crucified. At the other end of this garden there's a tomb, which we think belonged to Joseph of Arimathea. The Garden Tomb Association is non-denominational. We don't belong to any church. We are a registered British charity. That is the end of the commercial.
Sure.
Okay. Have you been to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have two places now in Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified and buried. One or the other must be right, or maybe both of them are wrong. I don't think God's going to tell us the right place, because he knows what we're like. We'll start to worship the place instead of him. And he's a very jealous God. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre was identified by Queen Helena, the mother of Constantine the Great. She came to Jerusalem to find where Jesus was born and where he was crucified and buried. 26 years after Jesus' death. Nobody was interested in where Jesus was crucified and buried for 326 years, until Constantine fought some battles to gain control of Rome, and he painted a cross on his shield of his warriors, and they won the battle, and Rome became Christian. And her mother, his mother, came to Jerusalem and built the church in Bethlehem and built the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And that's been a recognized place ever since for Catholics, Orthodox, Greek and Armenians. There's no proof that that is the place. There is no proof that this is the place. There's no physical proof. So I can only go from the Bible. And in the Bible, God said to Abraham in Beersheba, "Take your son to the land of Moriah, and there on my chosen mountain sacrifice him." Now when he got here, he would have seen three hills: the Mount of Olives, the Kidron Valley, Mount Moriah, you are sitting on now, the Terrapean Valley, and the Western Hills that the Lord could see. They filled it in, basically. The highest point of Mount Moriah is up there. That is 30 meters higher than the Temple Mount. That is why that is a Muslim cemetery up there now, because it overlooks the Dome of the Rock. It's very expensive to be buried up there. So, was this the place where Jesus? Abraham said to his servants, "You stay there, and we are going up to pray, and we will come back." He was going to take his son up that mountain, sacrifice him, and bring back a resurrected son. Because God has promised him everything, that his seed will father nations as numerous as stars in the sky. He had total confidence that God will resurrect his son. At the last moment, God provided a ram for the sacrifice, but God said, "I will provide the lamb," which I believe was Jesus Christ, to be sacrificed on God's chosen mountain, Mount Moriah. Isaac carried the wood for his sacrifice up that mountain, and Jesus carried his wooden cross up that same mountain. And I think that was possibly here. There's no proof of it. I don't think it was up the top of that hill. I think it was down here, because this area was quarried out. Stone was taken to do the massive building in Jerusalem 30 years before Jesus was born. And it stopped at this rock face because the rock was broken. It wasn't any good for building. Now in that face over there, last year you could see very much a skull. But with the drilling up there in the graveyard and the buses here, the vibration has damaged the rock. But this picture here was taken 120, well, about 100 years ago. And you can see very much the skull there. Now I'd like to pass that around this way for you to see. I think I've got some more pictures here. Pass that around there. You can see very much the skull there where the arrow is. So if you pass that around and have a look at it, it shows very much a skull in that cliff face over there. This was also a place of execution. This is where the Jews would commit their capital punishment of stoning. Now stoning was not rented crowd with a lot of rocks. The first witness against the accused would kick the person over a cliff. Not too high a cliff, but just high enough to kill them. That didn't kill them. The first and second witness would put the word stone on their chest and crush it. If that didn't kill them, then the crowd would stone the person to death. Behind this building here, the Damascus Gate, and St. Stephen's in the Bible was led out of the city and stoned. Most likely it was here, a place of stoning. And my namesake Saul, he wasn't a nice man at all. He was standing here watching Stephen stoned to death here on the road to Damascus. The Romans would do crucifixion as a means of intimidation. They would parade the person through the streets and do it in a very busy place. This was a crossroads, the road to Damascus, to Jaffa, to Bethlehem. Not up there, down here. Because in the Bible it said people walked past him and shouted insults at him when he was on the cross. They said, if you can rebuild the temple in 3 days, you can come down off that cross. And everything our Lord said on the cross was heard and recorded. I don't think it was up there. I think it was down here somewhere, beside the road. So if this is where Jesus was crucified, and there's no proof that this is the place, the Bible says nearby there was a garden, and in that garden there was a tomb, cut out of solid rock, where no man's yet laid. So what I like to do after you've taken some photographs, we'll take a walk in the garden, see what type of garden this was, and then we'll have a look at the tomb. Okay? If there's any questions, please stop me.